Hello, everybody. It's me, the Excellent Reviewer. Now, some of you know me. For those of you who have stayed tuned to the channel, I've been watching the channel. You guys know that I mainly talk about professional wrestling, the sport, the great sport that is professional wrestling. Now, usually I do. That's what I keep to. But I'm doing something different. And I am talking about this week's episode of Game of Thrones because, like everything else in life, I have other interests as well, as opposed to professional wrestling. I do have plenty of other interests, and Game of Thrones is one of them. So let's talk about it because quite a few things happened in this episode of Game of Thrones. Let's see. We start off like the beginning of the episode, just generally picking off like the last one where Jaime had tried to kill Dany, and Dany has to, Dany's dragon almost killed Jaime. So we immediately pick up both of them have survived. Spoilers, because I will be talking about spoilers and other stuff like that in this episode. Spoilers. But they do survive. They wake up and they're like, so we get to the point where Dany, she captures all the Lannister men, and she's all like, okay, it's very simple. You either bend the knee or you die. Only two choices that you guys have. And they're offered that choice. Dickon Tarly is funny because his name is Dickon. And Sam's dad, I forget which one, I forgot his name, because there are a lot of characters and you forget names very easily. So Sam's father, he's like, no, you're not my queen, I'm not going to do it. Same with Dickon, he's all like, you're not my queen, I'm not going to do it. And Tyrion, all the while, he is just like, he's just like, Dany, calm down, just keep them as prisoners, don't do anything, don't kill them. But she's all like, no, I gave them a choice, so it's gonna happen. They either have to bend the knee or they're gonna die. And they ended up dying. Because she was all like, okay. And the dragon, then, I thought it was great. A bit funny, because they're standing there, the dragon burns them alive, and, they're just burned to crisp. There was nothing, no bones, no anything. It's just their clothes, and not even that, just a bunch of ash. So I thought that was great, but still we get this other side of Dany, that she's yeah, we know she's a badass, but this is vicious, This is very vicious and visceral, that she was able to send the dragon to burn these guys into nothing, into ash, which also shows the power of the dragon. And then we get to the next scene, Jon Snow. He has this moment where he pets the dragon, because I assume Dany was all like, hey, if it worked for these men who bend the knee because of the dragon, maybe it'll work on Jon Snow. It didn't. And but yeah, Jon had this nice moment with the dragon. I thought it was very great. Thought it was very cool. And then we get to the main threat of this season, that's been a lot of the season, and that is the White Walkers. Because the White Walkers, they're coming, and Bran, I believe his name is Bran, I can't remember, but he had a vision, since he's a three-eyed raven, and he has this vision, and all of a sudden, they are, okay, every time you see them, they keep on getting bigger and bigger, but this is 10 times bigger than their last numbers they had. They have so many numbers. It's the numbers game that they have on their side. And we cut to this scene. I don't know if this is before or after, but I want to get to another point that we're going to talk to right now. And Sam, he's still in the, what's it called? Cathedral? Not the cathedral. I'm trying to think. The Citadel. There we go. I was all like, it's this big name. The Citadel. He's still at the Citadel, and he hears the Maesters. They're all talking, and they're talking about the White Walkers, and oh, it's fake and stuff like that. But he's all like, no, it's not fake. I know, because I've seen them. I'm blah blah blah. He's all like, I've seen them, and then he walks out, and then one of the Maesters talks to the other one, the one that's his mentor, and he's all like, isn't that the one that his father and his brother just died recently? And he's all like, yeah, I just haven't told him yet. And that's when that moment clicked for me. I was like, oh shit, that was his father. I don't know how he feels about that, since his father was really like, sort of a dick to him. And then we get to this other point that I was going to talk about into the episode, where Danny and John and everyone, all the main characters. Oh, by the way, Jorah Mormont is back. He is back working for Danny, because like that came out of like it's just Danny and Jon Snow when they're talking, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this guy says he's your friend. There's Jorah Mormont. And it's like, oh, like out of nowhere. And it's cool to have him back, because last time we saw him, he was very scaly. And, he was very scaly. And they had to, even it looked painful when they were taking the scales off of him. It looked very painful. So they're all back together. The band's back together again. And then they're like, we need to focus on the bigger threat. That's the White Walkers. That's what we need to focus on. And they're like, okay, so these are things that need to happen. This isn't like verbatim. This is like quote. This is me putting my paraphrase on it. It's like, okay, so we need to, first of all, arrange a meeting with Jaime, because Jaime is the only one that will listen to me, who could possibly listen to me, as we try to bring, and we also need to bring a White Walker to King's Landing to show Cersei that these are real, because Cersei doesn't believe in the White Walkers. She's just all like, I don't believe in them. They are kids' tales, only meant to scare kids. So they get this idea that, oh, like now we need to go kidnap a White Walker, and we need to bring it to Cersei to show her that everything's real. And Jorah immediately volunteers. He's all like, yo, I'm supposed to serve my queen. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me serve you. And so, another thing we get is, we're going to jump a little forward now, is the meeting between Jaime and Tyrion once again. And Jaime is pissed. Like, he's pissed. Like, he's absolutely pissed. And, like, he's just all like, I don't know, why should I believe you? Why should I do anything for you? And Tyrion was just laid out his reasons, like, oh, because the White Walkers are going to kill us. And during this time, Sir Davos, that was his name. See, there are a lot of characters in the show, so I can't remember, and probably you listening don't remember, aside from the main characters, everyone's single name. So what happened in this part was Sir Davos was walking around, and he comes. What happens is he comes by Sir Robert Baratheon's bastard son, and he's like, oh, okay, you're just gonna have to, because they knew each other, they were well acquainted with each other and stuff like that, and they were like, hey, if you want to come with me, you can. And so he's like, okay, I'll go with you, and he's like, you should probably bring a sword, but he's all like, I'm not good at a sword, I'm good at this big hammer thing. He has not a Thor type hammer, but sort of like a gravity hammer from Halo. Like one of those hammers. He's all like, I'm really good with this hammer. And they get to this point where these guards are all like, hey, what are you guys doing? Don't you know the port? And then they have to distract. They have to be like, oh no, we came from a different place, sorry, and stuff like that. And just when it seems like they're scot-free, that's when Tyrion comes in. The guards, they raise question like, what is this? What is this? Like, they're like, we were looking for a dwarf with a scar, because Tyrion has that scar. And all of a sudden, here comes, I believe, I can't remember his name. I just saw it. It was, okay, we'll just call him Robert Baratheon's bastard, because he was. And he, completely knocks him out with a hammer. Boom, boom. And, Sir Davos is all like, oh, he's good. And then, Tyrion's like, I guess it'll work. And so they go all the way back to where Dany is. And during the time, Arya, she's very suspicious of Peter Baelish, but I think we all are suspicious of Peter Baelish, because he has that face that he's going to betray you. he has that face, and he's been Arya's been like sneaking around. She's been like, "Oh, what's this guy up to?" And Arya, like, there's this guy who like meets up with Baelish, and you could totally see it coming because he's all like, "Okay, here's this. This is the only copy of whatever this transcript is." And gives it to him. Arya breaks into his room, finds the little note, whatever it wrote. It was like too fast for us to see, and then she locks it up like it's nothing. But the fact is, Peter Baelish was watching her, and you knew it was a trap. Like, if you watch the episode, you knew it was a trap because, like, you would think, because he is not that dumb. He's not dumb. And you notice someone following you, like, Arya was following him around a lot. Like, a lot. So it was only natural that this was the moment that she would be, like, not caught, but, yeah, caught. That this would be the moment where Peter knows that she's following him. And what was the other great moment? There was this moment. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, I don't know because sometimes I don't comprehend. Sometimes I can take things the wrong way. I'll see something and I'll be like, no, that's what it means, but it turns out it's not what it means. And I'm pretty sure that Cersei is pregnant because they had this moment where Cersei was talking to Jaime and they're like talking blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden she like motions, like she puts her hand on her stomach, and then Jaime has this like surprised face, like he's just like whoa, and he's like who will you tell the people who the father is? And she's like, I'll tell them it was you, because at this point Cersei gives no fuck. She's at the top. She is the game. She is the king of kings. So she like has no fucks to give. I just thought that was like whoa, like a bombshell. And finally, one of the final moments, because we still have a couple more things to talk about. Talking about Sam, who's he's still at the Citadel, but he's all like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care anymore. I don't, because all of a sudden he's all like, I should be doing something important, not transcribing all this petty stuff. So all of a sudden, he's just like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. He grabs his stuff and he steals quite a bit of stuff. Not like a whole bunch of stuff, but he steals like some stuff from the Citadel. He's all like, okay, this is coming with me. And then he's all like, let's book it. And the chick is all like, hey, like, aren't you, like, you said you wanted to be a maester your whole life. Are you sure you want to do this? And he's all like, I'm tired of reading about better men. And he's like, and then he books it. And he books it, leaving them in the Citadel. And Dany, I love Dany's interaction with Jon Snow, because it's like unique, because these two have been like a huge part of the show since like from the beginning. And they've been around. They're the veterans of the show, but this was like they're barely like their first time interacting with each other. And all of a sudden now they have to leave because Jon's like, I have to go try and capture a White Walker for Cersei to make sure that she can believe in the White Walkers. And he has this moment where he's all like, oh, at least you can say that, you got rid of the King of the North. And she's like, but I was starting to like the King of the North. And they go to the wall because they need to go past the wall to find a White Walker to give to Cersei. And all of a sudden they get these prisoners. They're like, we need some of your men. Could you give us some of your men? They get some of the prisoners. And one of them, it's the Hound. It's the Hound, Sandor Clegane, I believe. It could be Gregor. I don't know. Like I said, apart from the main characters, I'm not 100% sure. But the Hound and his crew, because they've been captured by the people at the wall. So they're like, okay, so you guys are coming with us. You either come with us or you don't, and you go and stay here, or you can come with us. So they have no choice, so they're going anyway. And then we prelude, because that was the end of the episode. I believe there was nothing else to talk about. But yeah, preluding to the next episode where they're just going beyond the wall, trying to find a White Walker. And the preview, because I they give the previews of what's happening in the next episode every episode. Like they're like, oh, this is what's gonna happen on next week's episode, and it's does it look good? I mean, you have the white, like it seems like it's gonna be like a huge battle because there are so many White Walkers, and between just like 4-10 men. And like you think, I don't know if they can do it like Jon Snow. He might be really good and he might have come back from the dead, but I don't think he can handle those odds. I'm not even sure if he can capture a White Walker to do what he wants to do with that. It's just it's very, we'll see, because they always, every single episode, Game of Thrones pulls something on us. It pulls something different. And it's like, oh, you think one thing and it swerves you into a different direction. And we're just going to have to wait till the next episode. I thought this episode was really good. A lot of people were talking about the last episode. They were talking about how good it was. And I'm going to be honest right now, I just thought it was an all right episode. Like, everyone was talking about this episode. Like, oh, like I saw Facebook posts. I saw so many things. They were talking about how great this episode was. The last episode. And they're like, oh, it's so great. Like, the best episode ever. And it's like, I saw it. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of the show. But I thought it was just all right. Like, I didn't see anything that was too built up. Something that, like, it seemed very hyped up from everyone talking about it. My friends were talking about it. They're like, oh, this episode's the best episode ever. But I thought it was just plain. I thought it was just all right. Like any standard Game of Thrones episode, which is good. Like, I just thought it was okay. Like, it was an okay episode. The only really moment that was like, oh my gosh, that came really close to it was, of course, when Jaime grabbed the spear and was going to throw it at Dany. And then at the last second, Bronn saves him. Like at the very last second. That was the only moment in the show that I thought was really worth talking about. Like, that I thought was like really exciting. But everyone else loved it. My sister was all like, no, it was really good. I thought it was just all right. I thought it was just all right of an episode. This episode I think was just as good, maybe even a little bit better. Still, by far, the best Game of Thrones episode, by far, is the Battle of the Bastards. There hasn't been an episode quite like that, because, wow, was that a good movie? Like, it's a good cinematic television show, and it's, like, that episode has been the best by far. Most well-received. Even on IMDb, it has a high score because of how good it is. But yeah, it's just Game of Thrones has been around for a while. You gotta start thinking what's coming up next, and how how is it all going to end? Because it's been around for a while, and you gotta believe it's gonna start ending sooner or later. Because even the author of Game of Thrones hasn't even finished the whole series. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. But other than that, this episode was pretty darn good. I don't know. It wasn't bad by any means, but it wasn't anything like really spectacular. But still, like, good necessary viewing, because it keeps you hooked on what's going on next and what is going to perceive in the following episodes, and maybe even the season. So yeah, that's been it. I ran out of things to talk about. I don't think I have anything monumental else to talk about this episode of Game of Thrones. I just wanted to give my review on it and what happened, this discussion of what happened in Game of Thrones and what could possibly happen in the next episode and stuff like that. I have nothing else to talk about, so do me a favor, if you like this, you like seeing what you just saw, well, actually hearing what you just saw, then make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I want to do more style like this, talk more about Game of Thrones and about other stuff like that. Just because I do love Game of Thrones, I have a passion for other things as well, and I want to hope to try and get that across to other people. But yeah, do me a favor, let me know what you guys thought about this episode of Game of Thrones in the comments section below. And if you want to see and hear more content like this on a daily basis, then make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys as soon as I can. I've been Samuel V, aka the Excellent Reviewer, and I'll see you guys as soon as I can.